Hook it on the edge of the concrete. You gotta open it though. Face of the concrete. Chuck Clem. Down here. Okay, we have the mark was still here for 25 feet. Okay, so there's a wall here and then one here. So I'm gonna center this. This is 51 inches here. So 25.5 would be center in that. So we're framing this door. It's not in the center. Angela wasn't very happy about that.
Well, I like symmetrical things.
It's on the back.
It just fell where it could fall.
So it's basically a foot off center because this is center to the slab, which is center to that door. So it's close enough, in my opinion. So anyway, we got the pantry wall starting here. Actually, technically this is where the bench is gonna start. And the pantry wall starts back here. And then our utility room wall starts right here. So then what I did is just took the median between the pantry and the pantry and the utility room, and then met in the middle here. And then we're putting a 36-inch wide door here. And when you frame in a 36-inch wide door, any kind of door, you typically just framing is about 2 inches wider. So for 36-inch door, I'm gonna frame it in at 38 inches wide. So half of 38 is 19. So I came back here, put it at 19, marked it at 38, and marked it here. And it's always a good idea if you don't trust your math, which I do. So it's 19 and 38. On one of the last videos, I was making the header and I just took like half a blade width off. And a lot of people wonder why I do stuff like that. It's because every little step counts. Because if you just keep on, oh, that little bit there is no big deal, that's no big deal, that's no big deal, all that stuff adds up in the end. And I guess it was just kind of drilled into me when I was younger. My dad would always say, you start square, you end square. So you're not having to be cutting sheets of plywood up on the roof, because that's super dangerous. Every little aspect of building or doing anything even in life is just, every little aspect counts. So make it right. So we're gonna start this. Now we're gonna start this at this back wall. I typically go 16 on center from the base of the concrete this way, because if you see here, the bottom sill plate lines up with the edge of the concrete, and then you add the half-inch sheet of plywood on that. So whenever I take my measurements for here, I'm always buttoning it up. I'm pulling from the concrete that way. So this half-inch sheet of plywood is to the outside, it's to the negative side of the 50 foot that this is right here. So when I'm measuring it, I'm buttoning this up to here. I found my 16 on center right here, which is this line. Then I went 3/4 this way. And so then when I do that, then my stud will fall right here. So then if I was to hook to, excuse Clemmy, if I was to hook to the edge of right there, then it'll fall 16 on center. So now Angela's gonna pull this out that way, all the way, just at the edge of the 2x6, all the way down there. There we go. So the important thing is don't have anybody touch this. And then when you are using measuring tape, I have it in the middle here. And so down there, she's got it in the middle there. And I make sure that the whole tape measure is in the middle. Because if you were to have it here and the tape measure on that side, it throws your marks off. So now that it's here on this line, I can go 16 here, and I got my X on the right. So I know where that goes. And then on the tape measure, the 16s, they fall in the red rectangles with the numbers in them. Except the 4-footer, it's red and black, but you can see it there. Oops. In the 8.
I have a question. Do you have to account for the windows right now?
No, I'm just laying it all out just so I can see where everything's at. I want a first initial deal like that. Typically I'll run the bottom plate the whole length. I won't cut out for the doors, but we have to do this wall in sections because I have to raise it over the pipe that's sticking through the sill plate for the kitchen sink. So in order to do that, I got to stop here anyway. I'm gonna butt up to this one, and it's at 69 inches. I typically like with the sill plates end right here, and then basically the stud will fall and kind of hold both of them. But since it's closer to an anchor and the next one's gonna be over here, what I'm gonna do is just butt it up to here, and then I'll put a scab board or just sister it with another 2x6 underneath here, just to give it a little bit extra support, and that'll be just fine. So I gotta cut this one at 69. And then you got wane on the board. So basically what wane is picture the tree is, you can see where the growth marks are on here. So the center of the tree is somewhere in here. So this would be the outside of the tree where the bark was. And so that's called wane. And if you have to use it, I always put it down. So we'll cut this one at 69. And then when cutting, this is what I like to do because it makes a whole lot straighter cut. A lot of people will just mark it at 69. They take a pencil and they mark it. And then they'll go here and then just start cutting. But if you do that, it's not always the straightest cut. So what I do is I put my square, have it tight on there, and I line this up on the fence right here. And then I line this up with the 0 mark right there, because that'll be, let's see, right where I need to be. Right there. And then I just hold this as tight as I can. I squeeze this, the bottom of the square, to here, because then I know that's a perfectly straight line. And then I use this as a fence, and then I just ride this on there. So then I'm focusing on keeping this straight up against this here, and focusing on keeping this so it's not wonky like that. It's perfectly flat on there. So then I end up with a nice clean cut. And the wane, I don't want that by the door jamb. It's not that big a deal, but I'm gonna flip it. And then I'll move this one out of the way, butt this here, get this here. And then I can continue my marks. I'll go back just a little bit. I never butt up, let's see. I won't ever go right on this mark. Let's see. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna put it so that I can check that's 16, that's on 16. And then I come over here, and then I know it's just kind of confirmation that I'm falling on the right 16 inch on center. So then I come over here again on the right, on the right, all right, and then I'm just holding it in place so it didn't move. And then on the right, on that board. Yeah. We have a helper, you just have her do everything. You need to just watch her because she looks so good.
Got jokes?
And that's way off, by the way. Always make sure, because I had it about an inch away from the line over there, so I'm having about an inch away from here. And then this goes all the way down. Oh. So go down here. This is 1.5 inches deep for the herbalist shower. So I'm gonna butt it up against the top plate. See the top, the treated is just a little bit thicker. It's a little bit wider. It came out to, instead of 5.5, it came out to like 5 5/8. I probably should have notched that off, but I didn't. But I can make up for that in my trim work, because that's gonna shrink just a little bit once it dries out, because this is pressure treated lumber and it always comes wet. And these are kiln dried studs, so it's gonna dry, or it's already dry. You can see right here it says KD, so that's kiln dried. So those are dry, and obviously the pressure treated is not, because it's a wet solution. And then always make sure your ends are nice. These ones were actually pretty good. They were square, so I'm gonna leave those. And here's another thing I like to do too, is when you're cutting, hold the longest end possible. That way this can just fall off. Because if you have somebody hold it and you pinch it, skill saws, all saws in general are dangerous, because as soon as you move, it can cock, and then if it squeezes enough, that blade's spinning really fast, especially if you're using a electric plug-in style instead of the battery operated ones. And then it could kick around, it could fling it out, it could go across and cut your hand. And sharp blades. Blades are cheap. As soon as it's dull, change it, because it doesn't pay to keep a dull blade on hand, because it's dangerous. All right, so now we got these cut for the bottom plates. So now we'll go over here, make sure that's not in the water. We're gonna measure, as Nate would say. Hey, can you take this all the way down as far as it goes?
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, you're way past. So this is a, okay.
As far as the cord went.
Okay, so stop.
Sorry.
So this is a 25-foot tape measure. So always keep an eye on when you're pulling it out, like Angela just did. Keep an eye out, because when you get close, you could pull the deal right off, which she just did, but she was able to bring it back in. So now we're fine. But she's gonna line it up in the middle again, and make sure we're about 1 inch off here. Now I'm gonna go over here, back just a couple. So I'm on there, I'm on there, I'm on here. And then you just continue over here. And the reason I'm doing this is when we're putting the sheeting on the wall, they're 8-foot sheets, so then we can put it on. And then also when you do Tyvek, if you do Tyvek, because I'm just doing zip board with the tape, so I don't have to do Tyvek, because this is better than that. But if I was just doing OSB and Tyvek over that, I wouldn't be able to see where my studs are. So then if I hook on the edge of the building, if I hook on the other plywood, I'll know it's 16.5 inches, and I can find my 16 on center, and then just mark it, and then use a level and go and do a straight edge. So when I'm doing my siding will fall right into those studs, because you never want to just hang siding on OSB. It's got to have a substantial base to fit that. So when you're always trying to think, how can I make the next job easier? And that's the way to do it. There's a lot of guys that like to go, that I've worked with down here, they'll do 8-inch on center for the drywall guys, but to me that's just mental, because you can see where the drywall is going because it's all open. You're gonna go right into studs. You can mark on the floor, you can mark on the ceiling, and then mark from there. Where here, you're kind of doing it blind, because if there was Tyvek on there, here you have the zip board so you can see where the nails went in, so you're okay there, but it's just a good practice to do it like that. Man, I'm a good teacher today, Angela. Shoot.